Hi and welcome back to another video with me Shruti. You're watching Living Our Ascension. And before I start this video, I just want to thank all my new subscribers. The previous video that I made, I got a lot of comments, on the video, as well as, some private ones. And I got to connect with quite a few of you through my personal services as well. And that's been really nice. And thank you so much for all the love and the feedback. It's just been amazing. And I'd like to welcome you to my channel if you're new here. Some people, they made some comments, and they were speaking about, there were a lot of people who spoke about how young I am and how wise I still am. So I just wanted to say that, I'm not as young as I look. I am young, but I'm 32. I'm not, because some people came to me and they always think that I'm 14 or 15 or, around that age, but I'm not that young. And of course, wisdom, there's something to be said for wisdom that comes with age when we, in this particular incarnation, but also we have a soul age as well. So a lot of wisdom can come from that because you've had experiences, not just in this life, but, others as well. And some of us also have a parallel life existence because we came from other planes. And so we bring that wisdom as well. And so probably that's what you're feeling into as well. And another thing that I wanted to address is that somebody asked me, they were very sweet, and they said, again, that I have a lot of wisdom, and am I channeling anyone, any being, because I look so young, where's this wisdom coming from? And I thought that was an important thing to discuss, because it's not directly, just referring to this person, but in general, because this is a general thing as well. And I wanted to say that, the timelines, when it comes to channeling, true channeling happens when we embody our own God self, which is called the I am presence. This is the state beyond just the soul level, and it has to do with, when we completely let go of all of these identifications that we have, and we just know ourselves as existence, and that's why it's called the I am, because you don't have anything attached to what you are. You just are. That's why it's I am, and that's the highest way that we know ourselves, is the I am. So this presence, this state of being, this part of us is called the I am presence for that reason. And when we bring this into our physical embodiment, all of us have the I am presence. There's not a single being who doesn't, a single human. And the process of self-mastery is coming into this I am presence, and we do that through grounded self-mastery. The I am presence is very, very closely related to grounded self-mastery, to grounding. And the colors you might know are white and red, that are related to I am consciousness. This is why a lot of paintings and depictions of the Buddha as well are either gold and red or white and red, because it relates to this level of embodying our God self. And the white is the white light, of creation. And the red is physicality, because it's equally important. That's why they're in equal parts. So when we embody the light in our physicality and it merges with the physical, this becomes our I am embodied. And through this presence, because it relates to the higher levels, we are connected to the whole of the cosmos. And first of all, the whole of our tree of life, we have different levels to our tree of life. You are in a physical body right now, then there's a dimension right above that, which is the fourth dimension, where it's the astral levels and the higher astral levels. Then there's the fifth dimension, which is so widely spoken about in the New Age community, which has to do with the equal balance of masculine and feminine that we have moved into, that Earth, the timeline, has moved into. And beyond that, then there's other levels. There's the soul level as well, where we come into knowing, where we come into embodying our soul. and then after that comes the higher self levels as well, and then the I am presence. So you see there's a whole process of self mastery that we move into, but it doesn't have to be, you know, you don't have to think of it as complicated, because it's really not. It's just knowing ourselves as this I am presence, right in the now and always. And the more that we do that, the more we just come into these different parts of ourselves. So when you see me, you know, being wise or saying something from my wisdom, it has to do with the I am wisdom, because the I am and you see how the church bell always happens at exactly the right time, bringing a confirmation that the I am wisdom is the most important, because through it we are connected to just everything. And what is right for us is revealed to us, you know, what is right for our service, because the I am presence, when we ground it, it's a state of power, empowerment in the physical. But power is related to humility, and that's what I want to speak about in this video as well. So anything that we need for our service, it's not just, you know, or one day randomly I had I got a little excited and I want to know something. And it's not that it's just revealed to us, you know, what's revealed to us, and the gifts as well, the soul gifts that come through, have to do with what we are ready for in service and what is for the highest good. So the more power that we embody in the physical, the more it becomes about service and humility. So these are really important things. And channeling other beings, for example, is an old timeline, and we are, you know, consistently now letting go of that. We will be seeing more and more in the decades to come, you know, more beings who are coming from their grounded I am presence, because this is the highest potential, and it looks more human to us sometimes. You know, we are often excited to see someone who is, wow, channeling like the angels, and you know, the angels are speaking through them, and it seems like, wow, they're so powerful. But the real power comes the more human that you can be. And you know, often that's why often this is not recognized by a lot of people, when somebody is just simple in their I am presence, because it's simplicity. Because, you know, that means that we still have some parts of us that are identifying with the human experience as not being powerful, you know, like we are kind of less than the angels or less than the higher levels when we are in a human body. And once we see just how powerful we are, because we are able to bring light here, you know, in the outer reaches of the cosmos. And what that means, like, you are a creator who is not just creating from, you know, in the angelic levels where all is within oneness anyway, but you are here as an adventurer. You've come to the outer scopes. And you bring those creator abilities, though, like everybody is a co-creator with source. And you bring those highest creation abilities that we, you know, come into when we manifest our white light column. And then, you know, it comes into our physicality, and we are able to create magic in the physical. So don't forget your human experience is just as sacred, you know. It's really powerful, and that's why if you're incarnated in a human body, that's the reason that we are. So just know that simplicity within you, humility within you. We don't have to move mountains or, you know, do those things where with our psychic powers people used to, I don't know, like they levitate or they do all of those things. They're a little bit, you know, ungrounded at this time. I'm not saying that it's a lie that people weren't able to do that, but the potential of this new age has to do with grounded self-mastery and becoming an embodied human, a human angel. So wherever the wind flows, wherever the stream goes, if we go with it, then things are, you know, experienced seamlessly, effortlessly within surrender. Whereas when we try and flow against it, then we encounter, you know, all of those things that we create for ourselves, like the concept of suffering or just, you know, suffering or fear. And the potential of this new age is very grounded. There's a lot of beings who are coming into their self-mastery and at a mass level. That's the potential of this new age. So let go of the ideas of channeling other beings and that being a state of power, because you are the most powerful being. So I was filming this morning, and somebody started using a drill in the background. I think there was a farmer, and there was some work going on, and so I had to switch off the video. But I'm going to continue now. And I was moving to these examples of how true power is, what true power is, and how it lands in the physical, and it happens through different initiations that we go through. So every time that a new power is landing in the physical, first we will feel it as something higher. We recognize the truth at a higher level, and then in order for it to ground in the physical, we will go through initiation or a challenge. And this can happen through mirroring with other people as well. So I wanted to give a few examples, and usually when I give examples, I try and give my own examples as much as possible. But when something is happening and it keeps repeating, then I'm guided to give those examples as well. So I hope that it'll be taken in that light, and I do this within divine love. And what I wanted to share was that recently I made something for somebody, and this person then they thanked me and they were really happy and everything, but they mentioned something, and they said that how their own higher levels, their higher self, they are blessing my life through through this portal that I have as my page or my channel. They get to bless my life and my creations, as well as the other people who watch it. And when they were saying this, it didn't resonate with me, because it's not even just about the words. The frequency of something is felt, and then I conveyed this to them. So this is an example of an initiation. So that's why I'm getting into this, is that nobody else can bless us. The only blessings that we can only ever bless ourselves. And this is just the truth, because spirit doesn't work in a way when we are really connected to our I am presence, the I am levels. Spirit works in a way as to work through everything. It's interconnected, so it's not as if one individual blesses another. So for example, so many people, when they order my services, or when, let's say, when they watch a video, sometimes I get private messages, or through my services, they speak about how wonderful it is and how blessed they feel. And once somebody even said to me that I've been waiting for this my whole life, to meet my higher self, and people cry and whatnot. But even then, I'm never thinking that it's happening because of me. And this is the difference, is that we are simply a channel for spirit. And when we work at the higher self levels, the I am levels, they never encourage us in such a way as to go around blessing people, because the focus of self-mastery is about us. And so it will be, when the I am levels speak to us, usually, it'll be about something that we can embrace. So whenever we find ourselves doing these things where we are pushing in the external, there's a need for us to take that and, move it in this direction. So for example, if you are speaking, you find yourself speaking this way, that I am bringing blessings to someone, then turn that around to yourself. How is it that you need to bless your own life? And in some way you are not doing it, which is why it's playing out this way. And we all go through this, and I always give my own examples within humility. So really work with this, because this is a sacred process. These beings that come to me and we have these power initiations, they're very pure. So I'm not saying that they mean harm or something like this. But everything needs to be seen as sacred, and the most important thing that we can do along the process of self-mastery is to really be authentic and to come as we are. And the process of coming into our I am presence is just this, is shedding all the layers. And that's why, the different levels, the more layers that we shed, and we are just left bare naked the way that we are. That is the I am presence, is that there's no need for anything additional. And usually when we are trying to push in some way, there's still a feeling that we are attaching to, that says to us that the human form is not powerful. The divine is powerful. Whereas when we are just humble, humility fills us up, and it works through us in such a way that we intrinsically we feel our presence, and then there's no need for us to kind of create it in the external in such a manner. And it's something that we hold, and it's just something so humbling, and then it's always there, just all around. So this is what I wanted to say. And another example that I wanted to give was, I think it was just today that somebody also reached out to me. And first they spoke about how overwhelmed they are with how much love I have and how I share. And then they said that to never kind of let cynical people get to me, because some people might read what I have to say and think that it's too hopeful. I don't remember the exact words that they used, but that I'm optimistic and I'm positive. And other people might think that it's naive, or they might try to take advantage. And I appreciated what they said, even though this is not really my reality. I don't anymore live in this sense where I have this feeling that I'm too naive, or I feel put down by any people who are being a bit cynical. But because I appreciate when somebody reaches out within love, so I responded to them. And then they they reached out to me, and they asked me if they can channel my spirits. They said that I would like to channel your spirits, and then when I do that, then hopefully some gifts will come through that you can use, that you can apply to your life. And again, this is not something that resonates with me, because just because I share in a very humble way, and I'm always encourage others as well. But there needs to be discernment. You see, with the I am presence and true empowerment, it is a frequency of discernment. So we need to know, when we reach out to others, it needs to be an equal exchange, something that truly resonates with them, something that is truly within flow. And when spirit truly guides us, it will be something that that brings that flow. So because I am an ascension guide, and I already channel through my I am presence whatever guidance that needs to be through my own inner source. So I won't be guided for somebody else to do a reading for me, for example. So again, don't try and push in an external way. For example, if this person came to me and they were just they came as they are completely, and like for example, some people that I know or friends, they made some soul art for me, which also had some codes, and I appreciate things like that, because they're coming as they are. And that exchange is within equality, it's within equal flow. So again, empowerment is a very humbling process, and humility is your best friend if you want to really come into that state of empowerment within you. And this has to do very closely with the death process. The death process is when we see something that we made a choice, and something is reflected to us. We don't need to hold judgments about ourselves or others. So for example, when an initiation like this happened with someone, and they respond to you with a no, or saying that this is not something that they resonate with, then if we take ourselves into that frequency of either blaming them, or the other one is like when we blame ourselves, that why did I do this, and then it doesn't matter whether it's extended to the other person or to us, there is still a frequency of blame and holding judgments. And so there's just a need for us to release that, create that beautiful vortex of love which dissolves any sense of judgments, and just take this as an experience, because these are very important. I go through so many initiations and I'm always speaking about them. So this is a sacred process, and just be humble enough to admit to the real intentions that we had, the real perhaps fears that we were clinging on to, because that's all it is. We don't have to think of ourselves as, oh, I thought I was a spiritual person, but now I have to admit that I have like this ego or something. Don't make it so complicated. Know your own purity within the whole process. The first desire that comes through you, even no matter what action we take, the dog, no matter what action we take, whether it was something that wasn't our highest nature, for example, still the first spark that came through us was always pure. For example, wanting power, and many people, they don't even know when they're doing that things like this, that the frequency that they desire is empowerment, is power, and maybe they're not even admitting to this. So go within yourself and within purity, embrace that. There's nothing wrong with desiring empowerment, because your own I am presence is the complete state of empowerment, the complete presence. So of course there's nothing wrong with desiring this, because somewhere within us we all know that this is what we are in our highest truth. But there's also because we are incarnated here, there's also the principle of expansion as well. There's the eternal self that always is, and no matter what, we always exist as that within the realms of eternity, within our I am presence. But there's also the part of us that is constantly growing as a soul and gathering wisdom. So as long as we are doing that, there's going to be initiations, and then the sooner that we are able to allow the death process, where we see something for what it is, and once it reveals itself, we don't hold on to this identity that we had created. Because a person who has identified with a certain identity, that I am this way, then they need to protect that. And then admitting to anything is a problem, because it means that they can't maintain this identity anymore, and everything that they were doing so far is wrong. So don't attach to any identities. Be honest with yourself, go within, and know yourself as purity. That's all I can say. That if somebody reflects something to you, or you see that you made a choice that wasn't, let's say, the wisest, it doesn't matter, because that's actually an initiation. It's a golden opportunity that you have created. So it's something very sacred, and everything that you do is pure in that sense, because it starts off as a pure desire. And I think that's the church bell again. And for example, a few months ago, I was speaking to someone who I know from before. I knew them in my 20s, and then I realized suddenly, through some synchronicity, that they are actually going through their ascension process, that they had this big awakening as well, just like what I also went through, and we continue to expand in it, but that they are they recently sort of started this process, and they spoke to me about it, and then what happened is that I was on vacation, and I started to see through all of these synchronicities started to come in, about their soul and what they are at a soul level. And I could see this. And usually when spirit shows me this way, something needs to be communicated to the other person. But again, this is through higher discernment, because when we live in our I am presence, then discernment becomes very important, and we will be very discerning about what is coming through spirit. And but we're going to have our moments still where we may feel like something is guided, and we take an action with it, and then something is reflected to us. So again, just take it as some feedback that you need to integrate. So with this person, for example, I don't remember what they were speaking about, but they happened to mention something, and I just knew that that if I made a soul portrait for them, or if they knew what they really are, because it was so connected to what they were saying. And something told me to say it, so I told them that, that this is something that can come through in the portraits that I do. But then I realized later that, that there's never a need to push. So sometimes we will be able to see what another person, let's say, needs, or what, let's say, not what they need right now, but what their higher potential is. And sometimes we are able to see this before others as well. But it doesn't mean that it's what they really need for the now. What is for their highest fulfillment for the now. And we all go through different experiences. There's never a need to hurry the self-mastery process. So I know that, all of us, when we are beings of love and we recognize this, we want to help everyone. And we want everyone to feel the same love or whatever experience we've had. But there's a sacred way that things happen. Spirit functions through all as one. So there's never a need to push. And when we find ourselves pushing in some way, usually it's because we are channeling that energy in like a narrow way, through one person or through one situation. And instead, when we just release that and allow it to be what it is, then new ideas come to us. So for example, for me, often this reflects, when something like this happens, it reflects that I need to show up in a larger way for the whole, and I'm ready to do that. That's why I have this excess energy and of service. And what I want to do is serve. And all of us, what we truly want to do is serve in that way, but it's just misdirected, that's all. So be humble enough to admit this when this is the case, when it is revealed to you. And this is the state of groundedness. When we are grounded, it'll be clearly shown to us, and then we can make a choice that is higher, something that is more freeing for us as well, something that is more expansive, that also makes us flourish as well. So I hope that this video was helpful, and that is what true power is all about. It's a very grounded thing. It's nothing that needs to be forced, and it's very, very connected to humility. And again, humility is not, I forgot to mention this, but humility is not holding back your light either. So for example, we need to say what we are. And for example, you will find me saying in my videos that I live in the I am presence, for example. So I'm not trying to hide my light in some way, but what humility really means, more than just our ideas of being humble, meaning keeping quiet or just not shining our light, more than that, what it really means is that we open ourselves up completely and we let spirit show us what is needed for us for service. So for example, 2 or 3 years ago, I went through a very sacred initiation in my Ascension, and it was one of the upper Ascension initiations around this time of the year. And I was going through my phone, and one of the pictures popped up, and I realized that it was around this time that it was happening, because usually this is the time when these power initiations also happen, the Pleiadian gateway. And after that, for those of us especially who have like a galactic lineage, then certain things will be activated at a certain time as well. So I was going through that, and when that initiation happened, it was like the biggest thing ever. And even though that was something that I really desired, that I really wanted, and it was here and I was living it. But even then, nobody knew about it. So for example, not even one soul on the planet. You see, something so big happens, like it's like if you win a lottery, or you get the job of your dreams, or something like that happens, you want to share it with everyone. Usually we can't wait to tell everybody. But this was something so sacred that happened, and I was not guided to really speak about it. And this is what service is. This is what humility really is. It doesn't mean that we dim our light or we try and hide it, but where it's needed for service, then we will speak about it. So for example, now it's a different phase, and people are going through there's a different level of awareness, let's say now, perhaps in the collective, and therefore it is needed for more ascension guides to speak about something. So now is a different time, and I'm guided to speak about it. So this is what humility is that you take an action for what is better for the collective, and this is shown to us, through spirit. So yeah, so shine your light and serve within this beautiful humility that is so powerful and empowering that it really grounds us. This is the kind of feeling that we have when we are truly within humility. It has that such an empowering feeling from within that we won't even need to share it. It's not something that needs to be shouted out, for example. And it's that complete. It makes us feel so fulfilled and complete within ourselves. So we are going through these power initiations because new parts of us have opened up since the Pleiadian gateway, new multi-dimensional parts of us, and perhaps I'll be addressing this in another video because I share on my Facebook page also about how I'm coming into a new part of myself, a new aspect of me is opening up. And so that is the case for many of us as well. And since the Pleiadian gateway, we might have been shown what this aspect is, but post that now we have been grounding it, and so it's coming through more. And more about that later perhaps. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel over here. And if you would like to avail of any of my personal services or read some of the articles and other things that I have on my blog, you can do that over here. And that's it from me.